Hey there guys, welcome back to another awesome video, and today's movie review is going to be of Five Nights at Freddy's, based on the phenomenon that is the horror video game franchise that is Five Nights at Freddy's, aka FNAF. We follow Mike Schmidt, who becomes the new security guard of this old rundown 80s restaurant themed arcade Chuck E. Cheese style thing known as Freddy's Pizzeria. So this is done by Blumhouse. This is produced by Jason Blum, of course. Blumhouse being known for things like The Purge, and they produce things like Megan. And this is directed by Emma Tammy, and this is the first time I've heard of her. And honestly, whether she's done horror before or not, or this is her debut or whatever it is, she did a great job here. Even Blumhouse did an excellent job with this film, and even getting consent from Scott Cawthon himself and having him oversee your film to make sure everything is more or less 100%, if not 90% accurate with the story of his games. I think they just really pulled off all the stops with this first movie. I know it's not perfect, but I really liked this movie a lot. Not saying a lot, because I remember years ago, back in 2015, 2016, whenever this game series started, I remember I wasn't really a big fan of it. I didn't get into it. Maybe it was just because I didn't like the idea of the jump scares. I don't know what it was. Maybe I just strayed away for it for reasons. But whatever the case is, I just didn't get into it. I knew people that liked it. I knew that it was big on YouTube and all that stuff. But I just didn't get into it until years later. My fiance comes into my life and introduced it to me in a way that I just could kind of see where the fans come from a little bit. And I may not be like a huge fan. I feel like I'm slowly becoming one, but when I watched this movie, I felt like a fan. Weirdly enough, I think because of how great this movie is, I felt like a fan that has seen this franchise for years. Kind of like, almost like how Bella and I felt seeing the Mario movie, because we grew up with that franchise, we grew up with those games, and then now we finally see a very well done movie to its core, to the T on things. And that's how I felt with FNAF, even though I haven't been a fan for years, but I felt like that same energy. In terms of the cast, it does great. Josh Hutcherson is really good, and it's been a little while, it feels like, since we've seen Josh Hutcherson in quite some time, and he's kind of like a great character a little bit. He's a good person who's got good intentions, but he's just got a little bit of trouble to him, and we do find out a little more of like why he's so troubled, and other stuff we'll get into in a moment. But you can kind of see like where he comes from a little bit. Everyone else does fine. Cast was fine. What I really want to get into in a moment is the animatronics. The animatronics are so to the T. Of course, they are spot on the nose. If not, they almost look better in this format than in the game. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the textures, maybe it's the practicality, because there's a little bit of puppeting going on here. There's a bit of people in the suits, and there's a bit of there's a bit of actual animatronics being used here. All that inculminates these phenomenal creatures and these phenomenal characters. And I just love how they're really done. I love how they're really treated, and they're just really great. Like every movie, this movie is getting mixed opinions. That people love this movie, people hate this movie. And not that that's to be expected, but kind of is in a little bit, because we all have diverse opinions. And I don't think we should all kind of be on this hateful train of like, oh, you think you like this movie, how dare you, and how dare you not like this movie. I respect people that don't like this movie, and on all honesty, but I could see why someone wouldn't, whether you're a fan of this or you're not a fan of this, because I can kind of see the appeal, because some things might not make sense and some things might be a little weird, and maybe there's too much lore, maybe there's too little lore, whatever it is. But honestly, like, this is why I said before, I know it's not perfect, but I just love what I got out of this movie. It felt very perfect to me. Even if I didn't experience the games, even if I didn't know of the lore, I think this would still be a great time. I think this still would be a fun time. It still has some very interesting and intriguing moments. I think it has a decent amount of jump scares, and I know some people might want more, but I think sometimes more is less. And even with the off-screen kills, there's a lot of off-screen kills. And honestly, I think that does add to the less is more, because I think this is a PG-13 film, they had to work with their limitations, and I think what they did with their limitations is fine. And again, with the less is more, with these off-screen kills, you can kind of imagine in your mind how gruesome maybe these things were. Like, I feel like the imagination of just a horror fan, a movie fan, or a FNAF fan to just imagine in their head what happened to maybe some of the off-screen killed characters, that they just kind of randomly show up, like you have a bunch of these guys that show up to try and burn down and break the pizzeria, and the animatronics wind up getting a little berserk. And then there's that one scene in the closet where Bonnie, and we don't see what happens, but you can maybe imagine that maybe he might have eaten him, he might have maybe pulled off his limbs, he might have like just crushed him, who knows what could have happened. That's what the imagination kind of is for. And sometimes I feel like there are moments and there are kind of off-screen kills that they're done for that reason. Well, not done for that reason, but again, the imagination runs wild, and sometimes I feel like that can definitely help with the perspective or help with the interpretation of how you want to experience the movie. If you want to experience like, oh, I wanted to see that, or oh wow, imagine like what would have happened in that scene. There's things like that, but I think they worked fine with it. Maybe it could have been R-rated, but I'm fine with that. It was a PG-13 film, and I get why they were going for a PG-13 film. And honestly, at one point I was disappointed that it wasn't R-rated, but I think it being PG-13 is fine, because as long as the movie and the story is good, then I'm alright with it. Now, we're gonna go into some spoilers for this review. I wasn't gonna do a review and spoiler review all in one thing, but I think I'm going to, and then worst comes to worst, we'll do more spoiler talks and really go more into things probably later on this month. But I'm gonna touch on something that's kind of mildly spoilerish, even though I feel like we already know, but from this point on, this is gonna be a little bit of spoilers, and there will be some other discussions that we're gonna go into that might be considered spoilers. So do bear in mind, we're going to a little bit of spoilers. And to touch on one thing you're probably asking, why haven't we talked about Matthew Lillard? This is where we're going to talk about Matthew Lillard, because I think him, just at first, he's introduced as a career counselor. I feel like, whether you know the story or not, I feel like Lillard's character there's a lot more to him than meets the eye, and I think it was done very perfectly, because he plays this career counselor. It's like a fake name he goes under, named Steve Raglan or something. And you know what? We were all expecting that he was going to be William Afton, he was going to be Springtrap, and I just love that. Even though we knew it was happening, it was just so cool just to see Lillard in the suit, in the Springtrap, Glitchtrap suit, and it looks great. I mean, it looks really good. And you know, like for what they were able to like conserve and basically filter for it being a PG-13 film, I thought it was really cool. The moment when you see the rib cage a little bit, and then the spring locks start snapping his rib cage a little bit. And I feel like they could have gone a little more intense with it, but I think what we got is just so good. And it's a little out of nowhere, because it feels very just like this serious kind of feel, and then you have Lillard going over the top hammy with his performance like Stu from Scream. But I'm here for it. That's why I love that it just went for it. It did everything to the T, and I like that it just kind of decided, you know, let's go a little off the rails. Let's have a little fun with it. All this other stuff, and kind of do some weird little things, and maybe do a weird little tease as like maybe Abby could perhaps be a mammogram, whatever the term is for baby. And that maybe we're teasing baby because there was like supposedly a spring lock suit that looked like baby. Maybe Vanessa is going to be Vanny, or maybe Vanessa's not going to be Vanny, but I feel like for sure Vanessa is going to be Vanny, especially since in this movie we have the idea that Vanessa is actually related to William Afton, which I think that was an interesting twist. I think that was kind of cool, and then maybe might play into more of her becoming Vanny if she does become Vanny. I think that'd be great, because you have her as the daughter of Springtrap, and for her to be messed up after being stabbed by her own father, to then maybe her mind gets insane and takes on that moniker of being a bunny, just like her father, like daughter. She becomes Vanny somewhere down the line, years, and like other, like I don't know, like maybe save it for like if you get to Security Breach the movie or something. I don't know, something where it's not too soon. Just don't do Vanny too soon, because that'd be a little weird. Unless you do, I don't know. There's a few sequel ideas we'll kind of maybe touch on another time. And if you're a big FNAF fan, you're gonna see a lot of the Easter eggs and a lot of other nods, things I probably have missed, but I definitely probably caught on to a lot of the stuff like Balloon Boy, and apparently there's that dog animatronic, which is named Sparky. Matt Pats makes a cameo, which is kind of hysterical to me. Like, I knew already in advance, because he kind of made it public on YouTube, but I just still think it was hysterical a little bit. It's kind of like, it's kind of funny. He poked fun at the fact that, yeah, having me say my catchphrase is cringy. Also, Matt Pat saying his line and then saying his catchphrase in the film is kind of iconic, you know. I kind of hate it, but I think I hate it because of the fact of how good it is and how funny it is. So, it's one of those things. And there's just so many other elements that I really dig a lot that I think other people aren't really enjoying and aren't going to enjoy, which that's perfectly fine. I respect that. A big thing that I've noticed people talk about is that Mike is a troubled person. And the thing with Mike is that the reason why he's troubled is because at a young age, he lost his brother, Garrett. His brother was kidnapped. His brother was kidnapped by William Afton, making it more come full circle when Mike and William meet face to face again after a while, after like few scenes later. But he has these dream sequences throughout some of the scenes when he's at the pizzeria, and I think it's very clever. It does give off very Nightmare on Elm Street elements because like what happens, I think they're trying to interpret that what happens in the dreams happens in real life, because there's a moment where we see the dead kids in Mike's dream, and they are the dead kids that are the ghosts or the spirits or the souls that are in the animatronics that are possessed. So when the Foxy kid scratches Mike in the arm in his dream, he wakes up, he's got that wounded cut from Foxy. So I think like I noticed that there was almost like each time he dreamed, it's like he went to each individual animatronic. Like the first time he went to Freddy, next time he went to Foxy, like almost like it's like every time he went to one individual kid, it's like that one night he dealt with each animatronic. Like the first night he dealt with Freddy. He talked to Freddy. So while he was dreaming, he was probably interacting with Freddy. And then the second night, he interacted with Foxy. And I think that was kind of really great. And that kind of really told an interesting story. And then maybe there might be a bit of more lore to it. And there'll probably be a little more, maybe we'll explore later. But I think that's that was just really cool. I think it was really a nice concept. That was really great. And I know that it's not a big complaint, but I know some people might not like that. Like literally talking in your sleep by the Romantics is on repeat almost a lot throughout the scenes with the animatronics, but I think it plays a crucial part in the story, and I think it was done really well because the lyrics in Talking in Your Sleep, and even the title Talking in Your Sleep, is the play on that Mike's obviously he's trying to find out secrets in his dreams, and I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. So the animatronics being the ones that they have the secrets that they're kept, the secrets of what happened to Garrett, because they might know what happened to Garrett and who took Garrett, and also the secrets that are kept from the animatronics, from the kids, that they don't remember that Afton kind of reprogrammed and recontrolled these animatronics to follow his orders, and they completely forgot that they're the dead kids that Springtrap kidnapped and murdered in the first place. Playing on that concept just has multiple layers, and it's just a great song, honestly, when you hear it more. I had a really wonderful time with this. Even with or without the Easter eggs, I think it was really good. And of course, this is definitely going to have sequels upon sequels, and I am looking forward to what they're going to do. Blumhouse has already said they're going to do a sequel. I'm really curious, even though they could follow just the second game, but there could be other things they could do as well. And one way or another, we will have William Afton always come back. So I think I am going to give the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I will give it, I think, I'm gonna say an A- or B+. The reason why I brought it down a bit is because I actually completely forgot for a split second that I didn't like the aunt character, like the Aunt Jane, I think her name was, because she plays this role where, oh, she's got to be a parental character that is trying to take custody from Mike. Mike is taking care of his sister, Abby. So, like, she's very bitchy and very cliche-ish, and I think that's kind of, like, not the biggest complaint, but that's, like, the microscopic thing that might have been, like, eh. So, other than that, I had a blast. My fiance had a really great time, and definitely I think you guys should go check it out. Definitely better than Banana Splits. Definitely better than Willy's Wonderland, even though I actually really love Willy's Wonderland. But I think I will say it's better than Willy's Wonderland because the fact that we finally have the actual material here, because there's been so many movies that have tried to create this concept and try to use this premise of animatronics or these cartoonish characters coming to life and being possessed or demonic or something evil behind their intentions. And they were obviously all inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's, and to have this movie finally here, I think, puts it up better than Willy's Wonderland, in my opinion. But what do you guys think of the movie? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comment section. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please smash that button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, if not every week. Make sure you ring that bell. Do new videos every week. Share the video with any friends, all that good stuff and more. Leave some suggestions in the comments. You name it, I'll look into it as best as possible. I don't know when I'm going to upload this, somewhere early in the month of November, maybe in the middle of November, not too sure just yet. I'll figure it out. I have other videos I have scheduled. I have other shorts scheduled. I have other stuff to do in terms of streams and other life stuff to do. So we'll all try and catch up and all that good stuff with more movie reviews, more TV shows, more, maybe a little more comic reviews and top 10s, all that good stuff, and more. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.